Thanks for joining me as I bring you the Winning All News, stories in and around ECWA. In the news, ECWA Women Fellowship observes International Week of Prayer 2023. ECWA General Secretary commends ECWA Women for Rural Empowerment. ECWA General Secretary visits ECWA Community Health Initiative. Thus, DCC Executive inaugurates Mariam LCC, and Mr. Shamaki and Ms. Rose join in holy matrimony. The ECWA Women Fellowship International Week of Prayer for the year 2023 commenced from the 23rd to the 29th of October 2023 with the theme Occupy Till I Come and a sub-theme ECWA Women Keep Occupying Till Jesus Comes. The International Week of Prayer is an annual event where ECWA women in all ECWA churches come together to pray and fast, deliberate on God's word, and visit the less privileged, among others. As part of the Women's Fellowship Week of Prayer, a delegation of Just DCC Women Fellowship officials led by the fellowship leader, Mrs. Miriam and Ladi Solomon, visited Gero Orphanage, also known as Gidambege, located in Jos South local government area of Plateau State on the 28th of October 2023, and were gladly and warmly welcomed by the orphanage caregivers and orphans. The fellowship leader, Mrs. Miriam Enladi, while addressing the orphans, expressed that they are very glad to be in their midst to share the love of Christ with them as they mark their 2023 International Week of Prayer, and encouraged them to be thankful to God despite their situation, for God will perfect his plans in their lives as he has promised to give them a future and a hope. She appreciated the caregivers for their efforts and prayed for strength and God's blessings. More so, the Christian education organizer of Just DCC, Mr. James Dalami Garba, who was part of the delegation, expressed that the desire to share God's love is the reason why they have come, and admonished the orphans not to forget the teachings they have received, but they must bind them in their hearts that they may become great men and women in the future. Responding, the orphanage caretaker, Mr. Jacob Jacob, appreciated the Women's Fellowship for the visit.
Seriously, we really appreciate your effort. We really appreciate what you have put in mind. And as far as today is a visiting day for the Women's Fellowship, we appreciate it. Seriously, throughout today, we are busy receiving the visitors like this, which is something that the Lord has already planted, that this is what is going to happen today. So seriously, we really appreciate it. More means we say thank you for the job. And my CEO has already said something here, that it is a joy for him to see this place. Seriously, this is a ministry which we are dealing with orphans, and presently we have 112 kids here with us, and we are having hope of, by this, hopefully Monday, we'll be having at least 15 coming from Mangu with the issue of this crisis, and we pray that the Lord will help us so that to take care of these children. And it's not easy to having children more than 100 that we are taking care, and we thank God the Lord is taking care of everything with the support of individual and with the organization and with the ministry too. We really appreciate.
More so, one of the caregivers, Mrs. Tina Julius, said they have about 112 children to take care of, which is not an easy task, and solicited for support and prayers. She added that they needed soap, detergent, pomades, clothes, and many other things, and call on individuals, families, and organizations for support. The delegation presented food items such as grains, rice, beans, and other materials to the orphanage. They also visited the Isa Foundation, which is a congregation of converts, and were warmly welcomed by Malam Dauda, who is in charge of the foundation. The fellowship leader, Mrs. Miriam, stated that they have come to show God's kind of love, to pray with them, and to share the little they have for the expansion of God's kingdom. Responding, Malam Dauda thanked the Women Fellowship for coming to visit them every year and thanked ECWA for its evangelistic ministry of reaching out with the gospel through programs like this. He thanked God for his provisions despite faced with various challenges, and thanked God that some of these individuals, trained and grouped by the foundation, have become pastors and missionaries across churches. He testified that many have surrendered their lives to Christ through the foundation and called on all Christians around the world to pray for these converts and to visit them if opportune, for that will encourage them. The delegation encouraged the converts especially prayed for them as they presented food items such as rice, beans, grains, and other materials to the foundation. Mrs. Miriam Aladi, the Just DCC Women Fellowship leader, in an interaction narrated that the Women's Fellowship Group, since its establishment, has lived to help women fulfill its mission and vision and has more to say.
We always see that as our Christmas. The ECWA Women Fellowship was established based on a need. The founders saw a need for women to come together and help one another. And it has helped tremendously in many homes. We see how women are facing a lot of challenges today. And many of them will testify that it's because they belong to ECWA Women Fellowship. And today, they are better for it. Their families are doing well. Their children, they're able to raise their children based on biblical injunctions. And I think this is one great achievement that the ECWA Women Fellowship has done, apart from the area of evangelism. It has taught women how to evangelize. And what we are doing today, we have done today, is part of it. We do this almost every year. At the end of our conferences, whatever we gather there in terms of foodstuff or resources, we still give them out to these needy areas in our society.
She added that the Fellowship Week of Prayer has been impactful with various teachings and called on ECWA women to learn from the week and imbibe the teachings into their lives.
We always see that as our Christmas, is where we're commemorating the birth of ECWA Women Fellowship, just as we commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ. So our founders, we remember them during this week, and we give God praise for what he has helped them to do, and today we are beneficiaries. So this week is centered around many areas of women's need: stress management, guarding the heart, and then we're going to have a discussion forum to help women to understand, especially those who are not living with their husbands. We're looking at the issue of marriage by correspondence.
The Just DCC Fellowship Secretary, Mrs. Rebecca Turaki, appreciated God for the privilege to see another Women's Fellowship Week of Prayer and admonished women to practically apply what they have learned for their physical and spiritual growth.
And here we are. We went out for a visit. We went to Gero to visit the Gidambege children, and we saw about 110 children there. We give God the glory for what the Lord is doing in their lives. And we're here. We also visit the new converts home, and we met a lot of them. We thank God. It is our prayer that the Lord will continue to keep them as they grow spiritually and physically in Jesus' name.
The Christian education organizer, Just DCC, Mr. James Ladi, called on other fellowship groups in ECWA to leave their comfort zones and learn from the Women's Fellowship by reaching out to the less privileged and those in need.
The fellowship group, they need to learn from the Women Fellowship, because one of the key roles, the responsibility that God has given us through Jesus Christ, is to be our brother's keeper. Looking that Jesus left his comfort zone in heaven, he visited us, so we should also visit those who are in need. So my key thing is that all the fellowship group should set aside a day in a year, either during their week or any day that is possible, so that they can visit all these new converts, orphanage, and the other people that are new in the Lord.
These visitations were not only carried out by the Just DCC Women Fellowship leaders alone, but they were also conducted by the ECWA Women Fellowship group leaders across the over 93 DCCs in ECWA, who went out for evangelism and visited IDP camps, hospitals, orphanages, prisons, and EMS children's schools, Other events that will be coming up during the week include a variety of programs such as panel discussions, memory verses, drama, debate, and games, among others. And on the 29th, on Sunday, the 29th, with the roundup of events, they will celebrate the unfailing love of God to ECWA Women Fellowship for the past 80 years since its inception. The ECWA General Secretary, Reverend Ayuba Shishe, in an interaction stated that the ECWA Women's Fellowship is a pivotal fellowship group in ECWA that has played a vital role in enhancing activities across ECWA churches. He commended their commitment and resilience in empowering women in the rural areas, giving a reference to Bukur DCC Women Fellowship leaders who visited a community called Nisan in Just East local government, seeing the need of the women in that community, provided a cassava processing machine which processes cassava into finished product called gari. This empowerment has helped these women to be actively engaged and involved in the production, and has more to say.
Many other women in several other diseases of ECWA, and we have over 93 diseases in ECWA. Now, when you follow them, you discover that each of these districts' leadership of the Women Fellowship are involved in one activity or the other, all geared towards economic empowerment of the women in those rural areas. So ECWA Women Fellowship ECWA are doing great, and they will continue to do that.
Responding to other national issues affecting the church and politics, he stated that politics in time past was seen by the church as a dirty game, but there is a paradigm shift to a different view of politics in the church today. God's children who are Christian in politics must serve as a detergent to wash the dirt in politics and make it clean, and call on Christian politicians to do politics that will add meaning to society. He also spoke on the need for religious leaders to always speak the truth, not taking side in the aspect of political parties, but always saying the truth to politicians, especially when they are doing the wrong thing. The ECWA General Secretary, Reverend Ayuba Shishe, during one of his familiarization tours, visited ECWA Community Health Initiative Secretariat, located in Jos Plateau State, Nigeria, on the 26th of October 2023. Since its inception into office, the General Secretary has visited various ECWA schools, departments, units, and organizations to have a skeletal knowledge of what they do in order to provide better solutions for growth. The General Secretary and his entourage were gladly welcomed by the National Coordinator ECWA Community Health Initiative, Mr. Samuel Abafras, and his management team, who took him, the General Secretary, around its facilities, among which are the old clinic left by SIM, a central medical store, among various offices such as M&E Research Room, Mobile Unit, Admin, and Finance, among others. In an interaction, the National Coordinator, Mr. Samuel Abafras, appreciated the General Secretary for visiting them and stated that the ECWA Community Health Initiative has 92 health facilities across Nigeria with 13 districts and 549 staff strength, rendering both primary and comprehensive health care services, and has over the years fulfilled its mission and vision of reaching out with affordable healthcare services. According to him, the health facilities spread across Nigeria were built by some individuals who got healed in ECWA hospitals, of which some are unbelievers. Some were built by fellowship groups, district church councils, ECWA sons and daughters, the EE, and the initiative itself. He added that they have also made spiritual impact, and 720 people have given their life to Christ, hundreds have rededicated their life to Christ, and hundreds have been prayed for, among others. And in the aspect of healthcare delivery, for the past 5 years, they have offered healthcare services to 455,000 people and have reached out to many through free medical outreach and evangelism, among other many successes they have recorded. According to him, they are faced with various challenges, among which are inadequate finances and the need to renovate dilapidated hospitals staff quarters, among others, and has more to say.
ECHI to be considered as a medical missionary unit of the medical department. So if we are considered as the medical missionary unit, we will be supported as EMS are being supported, because we are just working based on the lay resources that we have. Requesting for one-time financial assistance to complete the facility in Otobi, to expand our clinic here in the headquarters here, because the clinic here needs to be a model for other facilities. As you can see, we're just trying to just maintain the old structure.
He also thanked the EE for approving the 2 million annual grant and solicited for an upgrade. He also requested for a Unified Health Emphasis Week to educate ECWA members on health issues to raise support. Responding, the ECWA General Secretary stated that he is happy to be in their midst, having visited various ECWA schools, department units, and agencies, and having seen peculiarities and commitment of ECWA workers, departments, and institutions. He commended the efforts put together by the national coordinator and his team, working assiduously to see that the organization grows to this level. He also commended their services, which has brought about great testimonies across ECWA health facilities in Nigeria, and has more to say.
Coming here for me is a confirmation of all the comments we have been hearing. So I am very delighted to be here and listening to your presentation. I see there's a lot of things ECWA needs to do. There's a lot of things you are doing. There's a lot of things our churches, our DCCs need to do. We have created a name for ourselves, and we cannot afford to go down. Yes. We just have to keep going. Now, I use this opportunity to encourage you that you are doing a good thing. Look at the number of converts you are making. Look at the number of rededication of lives you are making. Is there any pastor that can say you are not doing what he is doing? Because the whole essence of pastoral work is to lead people to Christ. You are leading people to Christ. And I agree with that author who said, nowadays, the gospel is better preached in actions than in words.
He concluded that he has seen things for himself and now had a better understanding of what they do, and admonished them to partner together to the glory of God. The ECWA General Secretary has so far visited ECWA Theological Seminary Jos, Bingham University, ECWA Theological Seminary Cairo, People's Oriented Development of ECWA, ECWA Central Pharmacy, ECWA departments and units, among others. These visitations by the General Secretary has received a lot of applause and commendation from institutions, schools, and departments, and ECWA members describing him as a rare gem. The District Church Council Executive of DAS DCC inaugurated Mariam LCC on the 22nd of October 2023 at ECWA number 2 Mariam LCC Tafawa Balewa LCC DAS DCC Bauchi State, Nigeria. The DCC chairman, Reverend Philemon Zaka, speaking during the inauguration service, said he is overwhelmed with joy seeing that Tafawa Balewa LCC has grown and has now given birth to a new LCC called the Mariam LCC. The members of the new LCC accepted as a whole the new LCC and promised to obey the rules and regulations of ECWA to work according to biblical teachings and doctrines for effective growth. Speaking further, the chairman stated that according to the authority vested in him, he declared Mariam LCC, which would be under TES in the name of God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and especially prayed for the new LCC that God will lead them to success and help them grow to the glory of his name. Mariam LCC escorts were also inaugurated in the course of the program by the DCC Secretary, Reverend Ishaku M. Yari, who stated that these officials would be in leadership for the period of 6 months, after which an election will be conducted. These officials who will serve in acting capacity include Reverend Ayub Al-Hassan as local overseer, to be assisted by Reverend Umar Ali, Reverend Moses Marava as secretary, Elder Andrew Sampson as treasurer, and Elder Elise Shagaba as delegate. There was a special Thanksgiving offering celebrating the new LCC and the cutting of cake by the acting officials. In a brief exhortation, the guest speaker, Reverend Alhamdu Bitrus, read from the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 8 to 10, and admonished the people of Miriam LCC to persevere and ensure to become great as an LCC and must not be lazy and neglect the responsibility given to them. He commended the mother LCC for the effort they have all put together to see that the new LCC is established without any form of grumbling or misunderstanding, and also commended their unity, which has brought about the establishment of Miriam LCC. According to him, LCC comes with a responsibility, but they must ensure to effectively play their role by obeying ECWA rules and regulations for effective growth. He encouraged the newly appointed leaders to hold firm to their responsibilities and also encourage the congregation to obey their leaders in all aspects. In an interview section with the DCC chairman, Reverend Philemon Zaka thanked God for the success of the program and everyone who played a role or the other towards the success of the establishment of Miriam LCC.
I want to use this opportunity to thank God Almighty for this day. It is indeed a great day for us in ECWA DCC. It is my prayer that the Lord may continue to keep us together, to work as a team, as a unity, for the progress of the DCC.
Also, Reverend Simon Jeremiah, the host pastor Miriam LC, expressed his joy for the successful inauguration of Miriam LCC and prayed for unity for progress.
We're praying that the Lord will give us the grace to be able to build the new LCC to the greater height in Jesus' name. Pray for the unity among the members in the new LCC, that we run together and excel together.
The wedding solemnization between Mr. Musa Ibrahim Shamaki and Rose Said Haruna took place on the 21st of October 2023 at the ECWA Headquarters Church in Jos Plateau State. The two couples were joined together in holy matrimony by Reverend Dr. Garba Bawa as they took their matrimonial vows to love and to cherish in sickness and in health, to that do them part in accordance to God's word and Christian marriage. They also exchanged marital rings, which is a sign of commitment to the vows they have taken, and signed a certificate, which is a proof that they were joined together in holy matrimony, according to Christian John Cho. The wedding witnessed the presence of clergies, prominent men and women, among whom were Trustee Moses Dembo, Professor Agans, Provost Jets, Vice Chancellor, Bingham University, Professor Williams B. Curate, friends, families, and well-wishers. Mr. Musa Ibrahim Shamaki is an ECWA TV presenter, specifically ECWA TV Hausa. It was indeed a great day for the couple and well-wishers who celebrated with them as they laid the foundation of their new home. And that's all on the Winning All News. Thanks for watching. I am Alheri Moses.